We remain standing for the prayers. 3 prayers. A prayer for those with public responsibility for the well-being of others. Loving God, from whom all authority is ultimately derived, we remember before you Elizabeth, our Queen, and all those under her who serve in public office, especially members of this town council and those recently elected to other councils and public office. Help them to be wise, to act with integrity, and to use their influence to promote the interests of those whose needs are greatest. Grant them the support and encouragement they need in their serving, and the joy which comes from living well for the sake of others. This we ask in the Spirit of Jesus Christ, who came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Amen.
Amen.
A prayer for this community. Generous God, we are thankful for this town, its people, its character and its history, and for the spirit of service which brings us here today. We're thankful for this council, its officers, and all who work hard to promote community and neighbourliness among us. Today especially, we thank you for the dedication and goodwill given and fostered in this last year by our Mayor, Councillor Don Thompson. Bless this gathering as we celebrate past service and welcome the one who is to serve as Town Mayor in the coming year. Above all, help us to grow in our capacity for gratitude, in our awareness of others' needs, and in that generosity of spirit which walks the second mile and seeks the common good. Amen.
Amen.
And finally, a prayer for a generous spirit. Source of life and giver of all that is good, grant us all a share of your peaceable wisdom. Help us to be good listeners, charitable interpreters, and courageous decision makers. Affirm us in our highest desires to serve, and help us to put on the humility that puts harmony and goodwill to work for the best interests of everyone. Amen.
Amen. High Sheriff of Northampton, assembled dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you here today and thank you for joining us here in Brackley. I would like to extend a special welcome to Senator Philippe Dialale, still haven't got that right, and Mayor Katia Coppi and our visitor from Pavillon-sous-Bois here on their twinning week. It has been a tremendous privilege, honour and eye-opener to be the Mayor of Brackley. I have taken advantage of the opportunity to engage with the people of this town and to promote a two-way conversation between the Town Council and the people of Brackley to help solve problems that fall within our remit and sometimes help problems that fall without our remit. Recently, I formed a group made up of parish councils, local parish councils, next door neighbours, in order that we could discuss any problems that come to mind. And one of the big problems that obviously faces all the parish councils around here is the HS2 project and the movement of traffic that's going to happen as a result, and the uncertainty of Northants County Council's future. During the year, I held 3 civic events First one was in October, where I used Trafalgar Day or Trafalgar Night for my civic dinner. A great event. It was done in true Royal Naval tradition, and part of that was to have 2 chocolate galleons made by a local chocolatier. The original idea was that these 2 chocolate galleons would have sparklers down the gun ports. We would ignite the sparklers and simulate the Battle of Trafalgar. However, health and safety and the threat of having to pay for a new carpet caused us to rethink the simulation. So after I'd bought a job lot of sparklers, if anybody's interested, meet me later. We used clever electronic trickery to simulate the battle with flashing LED lights. And with the good guidance of the aptly named Councillor Tiller, we were able to reproduce the battle to some great effect. It was a wonderful evening. I believe the Port Fairies were very, very active that night. In November came Remembrance Day, our Remembrance Day parade. I think it's one we will all remember. It was a fantastic turnout, great turnout with everybody there, and it's a real poignant thing to have our Remembrance Day and everybody there. Then April, our civic service took place at St. Peter's Church, a celebration of the many organisations and groups within the town. They all bought a piece or something to represent what they did. I can't remember the exact number, but it was well over, I think it was about 30, wasn't it? Which was amazing. This accompanied by the Brackley Morris men dancing down the aisle, of which I'm very proud to be one, although not that day, to represent the 1623 pattern, a silver pattern that was presented to the church in 1623. An amazing, peculiar to Brackley. Also, we had the Jubilee Choir, who sang absolutely heavenly. I can't describe the pride and you know, the joy of hearing this choir sing in our church. And we also had the trumpet voluntary, absolutely amazing. And all this was rounded off with that great English hymn, Jerusalem. What more could you want? Throughout the year, there have been many events. The focus ranging on, and I've got to read this, I'm afraid, the carnival to classic cars, beer to bikes, food to fireworks, music to merriment. I couldn't remember all of that, you see. And then there was the lantern parade. 250 lanterns followed me down the high street. That was being held by children of the town and their parents in support. In fact, we reckon there's over 1,000 people following me down the high street. Wow. I think it must have been my deodorant. But we can't have any links to advertising here, can we? I'm happy to say that I was able to attend these events offered on our doorstep. It is these events and the people of Brackley and the people that organise them that go a long way towards making Brackley the lovely town that it is. Brackley Football Club. A small town like Brackley has a football club that punches well above its weight. There's 6 in the league, 6 from the top or 6 from the bottom, I can never remember. Third and even better. Oh, yes, but I mean on the bigger leagues. Thank you, Carol. That is well above a small town's weight. It's really big. And this time next week, I personally shall be at Wembley. Hooray for Brackley. It doesn't end with football, and I've got to mention this. Brackley Town Football Club has a community project, which every week every Wednesday in fact, produce a fantastic 3-course meal for a £5 and entertainment. Wow, and this is the football club. And I have to say the volunteers work extremely hard to produce this. I don't know if Kim's here today, but I mentioned Kim Grantham. She does all the cooking for this. And there's sometimes entertainment, and they even put on a pantomime, which I took part in. Very small part, I have to say. And it's something I shall always remember and probably continue, because I've got used to the phrase, "Here comes the mayor, it must be lunchtime." We have bingo sessions on the first Thursday of every month, and I've got to thank Councillor Morell and his wife and Councillor Sharps for running this. This raised money for my charity. Again, it's part of the community spirit. The Brackley European Association, as we can see here in force today, along with our French twinning town of Savion-Pion. Right, that place. It's all right, my mouth is dry and the port ferry isn't anywhere nearby. My Christmas Eve was spent visiting the many care homes and residential homes in the town to meet the older folk, little communities that have been in the town I didn't even know existed. And it's not until you're mayor that you realise that you've got all these little things going on. And on one occasion, on one house, I met a lady called Lil. She was 104 years old, and she was absolutely beside herself that the mayor should deign and come and visit her on Christmas Eve. It made her Christmas. And I had to say to her that the honour was entirely mine. I attended a Maundy Money service for Livability. Livability is an organisation that helps people that have disabilities to live on their own. They have a unit on the industrial estate where they have a mock-up kitchen, and they train these people with disabilities to live on their own so they can be self-sufficient. And it was quite, and I was invited to this service, and it was quite amazing because when I went in, I got cheered, hugged, I had my hand shaken several times before I even got to the front. And this was because of the Brackley Football Town community project. These people attended it every time. And the organisers were a little bit, whoa, we don't need to introduce you then, which was very good. I have had the great privilege of taking assemblies in our schools. This has been a fantastic experience. Our kids are brilliant. Our kids are fantastic. I don't think we've got anything to worry about. They're intelligent, they're engaged, they're with it, and they're talking. And I hope that my visits have sort of produced a few more future mayors and perhaps councillors. I've been able to enjoy various social events with a special relationship with our friends at RAF Troughton, consisting of the US Air Force and the US State Department. We are privileged to be engaged with such welcoming and hospitable people. When talking to Colonel Oliver, I think it was Monday, wasn't it? Was it Tuesday? I was trying to explain how councils worked. And I was getting to the point almost where I was doing a Batman comic, you know, with the old biff, bang, wow, power stuff. And Mrs. Oliver stepped in to help me out. And she came up with this phrase, and I said I'd say this in the speech. She said, "Disagree without being disagreeable." Thank you for that. And I say that to all our councillors. Earlier this year, out with the council, but with the Morris men, I went wassailing. Wassailing apple trees at Somerton. I don't know if anybody knows, there's a lot of blank faces. What is wassailing? Yes? Well, briefly, what it is, it's an ancient, I don't know whether it's pagan, recent, but it involves Morris men and firearms. A bit of dancing and a bit of holding hands and a bit of singing. And what happens is we dance around a tree, an apple tree, one way, the other way, we sing to it, and then we retire to a safe distance because the farmer comes out and shoots it. That is wassailing. But apparently the shot is to frighten away evil spirits. And this makes the apple tree blossom, produce many, many apples. I don't know whether it works or not. But that wasn't the point of my story. The point of my story, during that event, I was able to sit down with, and I'm going to name drop here, Lord Boswell of Ainhoe, to put the world to rights. We had a discussion to put the world to rights. And he said to me, any conversation with me involves Sea Cadets or Royal Navy. And he said to me, like the Royal Navy, his time in Parliament, he's a great organisation, good chaps. He said, they just buckle down, get on the job quietly. Well, I hope that that's what I've done this last year. Is buckled down, got on with the job quietly. It's been a fantastic year, fantastic town, and fantastic people. Thank you very much. Before I go on to the awards, I would like to say something. Last night, I had a drink with a serving member of the Royal Navy, an oppo, who is sleeping rough until Monday on our piazza. He's raising awareness and funds for ex-servicemen or homeless ex-servicemen. And he's doing a grand job. He raised more than his target in the first 6 hours. A tremendous job. So if you have any time today, go down and visit him, because his biggest problem is he gets bored. Jack Hardy is the man's name. He's a leading chef in Her Majesty's Royal Navy, and he's due in August to join one of the Type 45 destroyers. And we wish him Godspeed. This brings me to my Mayor's Cadet, who joins me in official capacity, and I would like him to come up now and receive a medal. He needs one, and a certificate. There's a medal. It looks much smaller on the internet. Can we face the camera? I started the Sea Cadets up 3 years ago. Since then we've moved on. It's been quite a success with the aid of our volunteers, in particular Petty Officer Tippler there. We have some great cadets, and it is my chosen charity for the year. This year we're hoping to have our Royal Naval inspection in July. If we pass our Royal Naval inspection, then we get a certificate to train. If we get a certificate to train, we'll get a commission. And hopefully, we'll have the first ship commissioned here in Brackley. So I would like Cadet G, who's grown somewhat since he joined, to come up and accept this huge cheque. And I thank everybody for helping me raise this amount of money. He was down there when he started. isn't it? It might take half an hour to do it. These microphones creep up on you, don't they? There are so many people to thank. The list is amazingly long. So forgive me if I've missed anybody, if you have not been mentioned. But you know who you are. I missed a whole sheet out. But never mind. I think we've talked for long enough. A special thanks go to my fellow councillors. They're a good bunch. I promise you, we don't always agree, but we're never disagreeable. In particular, Councillor Cartmel and our two senior councillors, Councillor Cartmel and Councillor Stimpson, have offered me great advice through the year, and I've depended on them, and they've always been there when I've needed them, and thank them. In fact, all councillors, but those in particular, I thank you all. Special thank has to go to our town clerk, who I've now renamed as Mrs. Oracle. If there's anything you want to know, our town clerk is the one to go to. I have to thank all our officers in all our people in the office, and in particular, I don't know if Michelle's here today. No, our street warden, who we started up this year and has been doing a fantastic job. And I don't know, most people say to me, especially new people, when they walk down the street, they say this is a lovely town to live in, especially incomers. And I've made it a point talking to many of the people that have moved into Brackley. So thanks to our staff and our ground staff, doing a fantastic job. They always seem to be working somewhere around the town. There are special people that I have to thank. And the first one is Mayor's Secretary. Done a cracking job in organising various things for me and making sure communications go out. And I have this rather large bunch of flowers. I know, aren't I just? Thanks ever so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
I'm the sort of person that's absolutely rubbish at organising things. I don't have one secretary, I have two. The other secretary I've had does it on a voluntary basis. She doesn't get involved in council work so much, but she does get involved in my other life with Brackley Folk Club and sometimes with Brackley Sea Cadets. And I'm going to ask ex-mayor, Councillor Theo Hayward, and she's going to kill me, to come up and accept this small token of my thanks for all her help. Theo is the sort of person that never stops. You can't stop her. She just does so much for the town, it's unbelievable. Last but not least is the woman that has to live with me, put up with me. She's my rock, my lovely Wren. That concludes the initial talk of mayor making. It's now down to official business, and I will start on the agenda proper. Item. Oh, I better stand.
Just turn it down. Just bring it down.
Okay, I'm frightened to do that. Whenever I do that, they fall over. item 118 on the agenda. The town mayor, I shall ask for apologies for absence. Any apologies for absence?
Mr Mayor, I've received apologies from councillors Broomfield, Butler and Waldron.
Thank you, noted. Item 218, election of town mayor. Councillor Rossberry.
It is with greatest of pleasure, on behalf of the Town Councillors and Brackley Town Council staff, to thank you, Mr Mayor, for your term in office. Don's charity has been the Sea Cadets, and he has been instrumental in establishing the Sea Cadet unit here in the town of Brackley. His love of naval tradition, as he's already said, saw us being introduced to the delights of a Trafalgar dinner, complete with cannons firing from chocolate galleons and port. He has also been a regular Wednesday visit to the Saints Community Project. The Mayor has also been to every school to deliver an assembly of the pupils. Don has successfully reintroduced her traditional civic service into the mayoral calendar. Don is the only mayor to have been photographed on the top of the town hall, where the Weathervane usually sits. I propose that a hearty vote of thanks be accorded to Councillor Don Thompson for the able and efficient manner in which he has performed the duties of Town Mayor for the past year. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
I second that proposition.
Thank you, councillors. Please show. Okay, carried. So this is what they mean by the chain gang.
Councillor Mark Morell was born and brought up in London, worked in the gas industry for 25 years. Mark started out as an apprentice and successfully rose through the ranks to senior management. Along with his lovely wife Lorraine and their 3 children, they moved to Brackley over 20 years ago. They are now very proud to have 6 grandchildren. The family, including Mark's parents, are all here today. I know through his work on the Town Council that Mark really cares about our lovely town and its residents and always does his best for them both. He always is at the forefront of all our community events arranged by the Town Council and always on hand to give help and advice, and he certainly has been in that position to me. I believe he will be an excellent mayor. I therefore propose that Councillor Mark Morell be elected Town Mayor of Brackley for the ensuing year.
I have known Mark Morell, Councillor Morell, for more than 3 years, and also worked alongside him on key council business. He is passionate about the well-being of Brackley, its heritage and its residents, and possesses excellent credentials to fulfil the role of Town Mayor. As such, it gives me great pleasure to second the motion to elect Councillor Morell Mayor of Brackley for the ensuing year.
Thank you. Councillors, Mark Morell has been proposed for mayor. How do you show? All in favour? Thank you. See? I told you.
I'm not going to end the meeting.
Oh, yes. Do I have to end the meeting?
Don't too late.
Okay, it doesn't.
We'll just walk out.
or first class? Ready? Yeah. Okay. I, Mark Morell, having been elected to the office of Town Mayor for the town of Brackley, hereby declare that I shall take the said office upon myself, will duly and heartfully fulfil my duties thereof according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Town Council's adopted code of practice and performance of my functions in my office.
The Town Mayor has signed the Code of Conduct.
I didn't realise how nervous I would be. Having been in other venues where other people might be nervous, so excuse me if I do get something wrong. High Sheriff of Northamptonshire, I welcome you. Assembled dignitaries, fellow councillors, honoured guests, family, friends, and ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. I'm delighted to be the Mayor of Brackley, and I'm delighted for the support of my councillors, fellow councillors. My wife Lorraine and I look forward to attending many events in and around the town and meeting lovely people in this town. Many thanks for my proposal as Mayor by Councillor Baker and seconded by Councillor Baggott-Webb, and their kind words I welcome and hope that I'll do my best to meet them. I'd like to pay tribute to Councillor Don Thompson. I think as Mayor in the past year he's continued to respond to the town's needs. He's carried out his role with pride and dignity. He's worked stoically and he really cares about the town, as do I think all of our councillors, and working together we have to fight many foes to try and keep things in this town, and I think that's our role, and it will increase particularly with the uncertainty of Northamptonshire in the future. I can already see from my mayoral list it's going to be a busy year, so apart from the many events that have been mentioned earlier, because we do have some tremendous events in this town. Some key things: we've got a nice new school being opened at Poppyfields Way in the extension of Brackley that looks fabulous with the stonework. The Town Hall restoration project will be completed and handed back to the Town Council, and that's really looking superb. The most it's been spent on it for several centuries. We're going to receive a fabulous community centre as a result of the developments that really will give a base for a lot of activities in the town and allow us to extend those things that are important to this community, because it's the events that keep this town as a growing town but with a small heart in there, and there's a number of volunteers that are key to this town, and hopefully later in the year we'll see many things coming out of those. There are going to be many events to mark the centenary of the end of the First World War, you know, ribbons of poppies and a number of other things that is a very important thing for this town. And of course, this month, hopefully, the starting of the work for the much needed medical centre, which is so important as we grow, and will be a state-of-the-art facility. The coming year will have many challenges, but I'm sure myself with my fellow councillors will serve the town and do it and make sure that we do it to the best of our abilities. And the town thrive. The support of most everybody in the town is key to us in achieving things. There are many worthy charities, but I've chosen as my main charity Brackley Mind, something close to my heart. They do sterling work in the community with people that are vulnerable. I also intend to donate funds to specific charities, the smaller organisations around the town. Myself and my wife will look forward to meeting many of the residents and groups during the town and visit the schools. I finally must mention Brackley Town because not only tomorrow and they're in the playoffs, we've got Wembley coming. I'm sure we wish them every success and good luck. But we've already had some success in the town from the youth football. I'm involved in youth football through one of my grandsons. And 4 teams so far have won cup finals, 1 yet to play, and a number have done exceedingly well within their leagues. So it just shows that something's happening in Brackley with football. One thing I'll share with you while I'm a bit emotional. Excuse me, I just collect my thoughts. I've suffered through mental health issues. And hopefully can prove that you can move forward. Many thanks for your trust. Councillor Thompson. Moving back to the agenda, this is a bit more easy, it's more structured. Item 3.1.18, election of deputy mayor. I propose that Councillor Anthony Baggott-Webb be elected the deputy mayor of Brackley. Would councillors please show? Thank you. Yeah. I declare Councillor Anthony Baggott-Webb Deputy Mayor of Brackley.
Councillor Bagot-Webb has signed his statutory declaration of office.
Item 4118, the appointment of the Mayor's Consort. The Mayor, I'd like to appoint my wife, Lorraine Morrell, as Consort for the year. Tony's bit now.
I'd like to appoint my wife as my consort for the ensuing year, Green Brackley.
What should we do now about Mayor's Cadet? Item 613, the appointment of Mayor's Cadet. At the moment we're considering a number of cadets, and we'll be appointing one later in the year as and when that decision's been made. Item 713, appointment of Mayor's Chaplain, to appoint Reverend Patricia Olivet Hayes, but unfortunately he's had a long-standing commitment for some period of time, so can't be here today. So we will do that formally at the next full council meeting that she's available. Item 813, approval of minutes. Oh, sorry, 18, for the approval of minutes of the council held on Monday the 9th.
I move that the council approve the minutes of the meeting of the council held on Monday the 9th of April 2018.
I move that the council, rather I second that, sorry.
Yeah. Can I have a show of hands? Thank you. Item 913, to record a vote of thanks for employees with the council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In light of what I said earlier on, we have a fantastic team. Therefore, I move a vote of thanks for the staff of Brackley Town Council.
And it will give me great pleasure to second that nomination. Thank you.
Can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. Item 1018, to fix the dates and times of the meetings for the year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to propose that the dates and times on which the meetings of the council and its committees will be held during the ensuing year to be as in the list circulated, unless varied by due notice.
Mr. Mayor, I will happy to second that motion.
Can I have a show of hands, please, councillors? Thank you. Item 1118, to elect the standing committees.
I move that members of the council do form each of the standing committees as is the list circulated.
I second that move. Thank you.
Start with a show of hands, please, councillors. Thank you. Ended the first part of the meeting. I announce the first part of the annual meeting is closed and invite you all to all those present to join us for some light refreshments.
We're going that way.
Well done, Mr. Mayor.
Long
Are
way.
we going the long way?